guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is day 30 something. We're well past the 1 month mark for quitting marijuana. I'm shooting for 60 days and I'd like to update you guys with the 60-day update, and then if we make it to there, how we feel. Maybe I'll do 90 days and do the 90-day update. So we are still moving forward with the detoxing from marijuana. I have been told that it will take 90 days in total to fully detox from the marijuana. In some cases, depending on how much you smoked, what type of marijuana products you smoked, it could take 6 months to a year, which is really similar to nicotine. And that's what I wanted to talk about today. The comparison with quitting nicotine products versus quitting marijuana products, because I no longer smoke any type of nicotine products. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I quit smoking cigarettes July 6, 2013. So this year coming up in July will be my 10 years that I quit smoking cigarettes, and I have not had a cigarette since July 6, 2013. That was the last day that I had ever smoked. I smoked a cigarette in the morning, and I told myself that that was it. I had I think the rest of a pack left of cigarettes, and I didn't smoke after that. And I was maybe tempted a few times to have some cigarettes, but I had quit cold turkey. And I think maybe prior to that, I had tried to quit smoking cigarettes a couple of other times, and it didn't really work out. I wasn't really dedicated to it. I think I had a bet going with my dad. Whoever stay quitted the longest, or whoever ended up smoking a cigarette, we had to pay the other one $50. Like if we smoked a cigarette first, and I caught my dad smoking a cigarette, so he had to pay me $50. But he also kind of was like, well, do you want one? Well, we broke the bet. And so I ended up smoking again, and neither one of us got $50. So that's how that went. But anyways, aside from that, I quit smoking cigarettes, and I was a smoker for just under 8 years. I was heading up on right before my 25th birthday, and I told myself I didn't want to turn 25 and still be a smoker. So about 3 weeks before my 25th birthday, I quit smoking cigarettes. And back then in 2013, vaping was a thing, but it wasn't. Here, come here, baby. I'm trying to get my cat. Vaping had just started coming out, but they didn't have the fruity, good smelling, good tasting vapes like they do now. They had the electric, I don't even think it was called a vape. I think they were called electric cigarettes back then. And I did buy one electric cigarette, and I think back then it was maybe $10. And I forget how many packs of cigarettes it was supposed to equal to. So I did lie to you guys. The last cigarette I smoked was on July 6th, but that's not the last time that I had nicotine. So I bought one of those little vape things, or e-cigarettes, I think they were called. And it looked like a cigarette, and it lit up, and it just kind of hurt my throat. It didn't taste good at all like cigarettes. It didn't smell like anything, which was nice. But by the time that one ran out, I just told myself that it was kind of silly to quit smoking cigarettes and then to start smoking these e-cigarettes, because they pretty much cost the same. So I just didn't buy anything after that, and I had quit cold turkey. So when I had quit cold turkey, I did experience detox symptoms. I remember my biggest concern when I was 25 years old, let's say 25 years old, my biggest concern was weight gain. Not the health benefits, anything like that. I did not want to gain weight when I quit smoking cigarettes, because I had heard that you gain weight, and because you're no longer smoking, you want to eat everything. So what I did was, instead of smoking a cigarette, I would bring fruit to work. I'd bring bananas and peaches and pears and just kind of things that I liked. And I would go outside because that would be the time that I would have my cigarette break. I would be outside smoking, but I would go outside and I would eat a banana. Or I would go outside and have a peach or a plum or whatever. I would just have a piece of fruit. So I did consume a lot of fruit during the first few weeks, and it was really a healthy alternative compared to smoking or snacking on something that wouldn't be so healthy. So I did, and I guess you just kind of have to have, it was the habit of having, something in your mouth, ha ha ha. But I definitely was addicted to nicotine. I was a smoker for, like I said, 8 years, and I had smoked a pack a day. And if I had gone out to the bar with friends, I would definitely smoke more than that. But regular smoker, a pack a day, which was like 20 cigarettes came in a pack. And so yeah, I was a frequent smoker. I smoked more than 1 cigarette per hour. And if I was going without it, I would start to get antsy and anxiety, all that stuff. So I would have to have cigarettes all the time. And then when I quit, I remember that was one thing I would do. I would go outside and I would have my fruit. I also started smoking a lot more weed. I had a one-hitter that was shaped like a cigarette, and I would just pack it with weed and just have a hit. And it was kind of like the same habit of doing this, which now it's so weird for me to do that. Whatever, that's not me anymore. But it was, and it was a big part of my life years ago. And I remember the detox symptoms. I was pretty irritable, especially the first week. And once I made it through that first week, I was really proud of myself. And I told myself it was just pointless to smoke cigarettes. So I did stay away from drinking. I was never really a big drinker anyways. But I did stay away from drinking because drinking and cigarettes just went hand in hand. It was like something that you would do. You'd have a drink in your hand, and I mean, it just made the cigarettes taste better. It was an anxiety thing. I don't know. My advice, if you want to quit smoking cigarettes, is not to drink alcohol, because they really went hand in hand. Now, the vaping, I don't know. I have nothing to say about that from personal experience. I just don't know enough. I was never a vapor. Is that what they're called? I never smoked vapes. Those came years after I had quit, and all the fruity good stuff now that not good stuff, but the fruity things that I smell now that people smoke, I'm like, why don't they have this when I was younger? Because I definitely would have did that, and it smelled a lot better than cigarettes, but I'm pretty sure there's no health benefits to vaping, so just don't do it. I know a lot of people that do it, whatever, but I will say this, it definitely smells a lot better than cigarettes, and I don't mind if somebody were to smoke cigarettes not cigarettes, I'm sorry. I wouldn't mind if I don't mind if people smoke vapes in our house. I don't care at all. I did have people, years ago here, friends of ours, they were smoking cigarettes in the basement. It was cold outside. I said, just go in the basement, it's fine. And holy shit, our house stunk for days and days after that, like cigarettes, and I just don't like it. But the vaping, I don't care. You can vape in my car. You can vape in the house. It doesn't smell it. Actually, some of it smells good. So it's kind of dangerous that they came out with these vapes. But by the time those were popular, I was already over my nicotine addiction, and I didn't care about it. So irritability, definitely. I remember I had to go shopping for my friend's baby shower, and I was at Babies R Us. Now you can just go online and order people's registries. But then I went to Babies R Us, and we were trying to find a specific thing on the printed out piece of paper, and the lady couldn't find it. And I just got like really mad at this lady, and it had nothing to do with her. I was just super irritable, and I got really mad at her. I was super embarrassing, and I ended up going back and apologizing a week later. And pretty sure I used the excuse, I was clean smoking. But at the end of the day, there is no excuse to be an asshole to somebody. No matter what you're going through, what you're dealing with, there's no excuse. It is up to you to hold yourself accountable for being a freaking dickhead. So I went back days later, maybe a week later, and I apologized to the girl, and yeah, it's just how that went. But that was more or less for my own self, because I felt so guilty and embarrassed and upset that I got so upset about something so minute. I had a total Karen moment, and yeah, that's it. I own my shittiness. I was an asshole. Super irritable. Other than that, after the first week, 2 weeks, the irritability had gone down. A month went by. I was totally fine. I felt great. I started smoking a lot more weed, though. A lot more weed. And yeah, I guess I just traded one habit in for another. I was always a weed smoker. I started smoking weed before I had ever started smoking cigarettes. I started smoking cigarettes because I was told that would make your high better from smoking weed. And I just became fully addicted to cigarettes. So fast forward 10 years later, well, almost 10 years later, 2013, 2023, I decided to quit smoking weed 30 odd days ago. And I have tried to quit smoking weed throughout my over 17 years of smoking. A lot. I've tried to quit smoking weed a lot. Way more than I tried to quit smoking cigarettes. And I failed. Every time. Except for this one. And I'm so proud of myself for sticking with this. This was the first time that in my head I told myself mentally that I was going to do it. All the other times it was just more or less like for detoxing purposes, and I didn't think to myself, I want to quit forever. I just knew I wanted to slow down or stop. However it may be, I always ended up going back. But this time around was different because it was extremely important for my mental health to know that I could quit the substance that I no longer had control over using. I had completely lost myself in marijuana. I had let it become so much of my identity, and there are so many people who associated myself with marijuana, and now that I have quit, I'm a little more clear-headed now. Actually, these last couple of days I've just kind of been down in the dumps, but I blame the weather because it's currently me speaking, but you guys are seeing this in the future. It's May 2nd, we're in Michigan, and it's like 40 degrees outside. It's so shitty. It's just been rainy and gloomy the last week or so or more, and it's been awful. So everybody's just kind of feeling down in the dumps, and I feel better about that than thinking that there's something wrong with me. But let's go to the first week that I quit. Going through detox was 100 times worse than as opposed to quitting cigarettes. I was always told that marijuana was not an addictive substance, that really when you quit, you just might have a couple of sleepless nights and minor irritability. I personally would smoke the flower, the buds. I never smoked carts, like the vape marijuana. I did edibles here and there, but I was a flower smoker, like we say, old school. And I would smoke out of my bong for the most part. If friends were here and they would bring a joint over, I would smoke that. Blunts once in a while with some family members, but I was predominantly a bong smoker and a heavily user. So I can only speak from my own personal experience, and I will say we need 2 straws. They forgot straws. Oh, my husband's getting, what's it called? Hold on a second. Sorry, guys. That's fine. He's coming home with Wendy's. Woohoo! I can't wait. Haven't had Wendy's in a while. So I went through a solid week after quitting marijuana where I was uncontrollably sweating. Uncontrollably. My palms have never been so sweaty. I would sweat through like this shirt, a full hoodie, and I mean sweat marks like like I was back in middle school going through all my hormonal changes. I had a few night sweats. Irritability, yes, it was intense. I would say along the same lines as quitting nicotine, being irritable. But I had a few outbursts where I just had, I was just screaming and upset over nothing. I guess I can't say nothing, but talking to loved ones, and I let my emotions get the best of me, and I just started screaming, and I was so mad. And then I shortly after apologized, because we have to take accountability for our actions. We are responsible for our triggers. That is 100%. I know people don't like hearing that, but it's true. I've been triggered so many times in the past, but each time my outburst could have been avoided by just me using the proper coping skills. But we are responsible for our triggers. It's never somebody else's fault. If they trigger you, if they're intentionally trying to trigger you, you still are 100% in control of your emotions. And if you cannot be in control of your emotions, that's a sign that you have to work on yourself. And I am pretty open to admitting that there's many things that I have to work on, and I have no problem taking accountability when I'm an asshole. It sucks, it's embarrassing, but it is what it is. People appreciate that when you hold yourself accountable. So I did have some outbursts. I was talking to my mom on the phone, and we just got into some stuff, and I just got really upset, and then I had to calm myself down and then apologize, because it's not right, it's not fair to her. And Will also was irritating me, but I live with Will. I mean, he's my husband, but the stuff that was irritating me was just really, really dumb. Like, we would be driving in the car, and he would have his hand on the window, and I would just hear this. And then after about 5 minutes of hearing that, I was like, if you don't fucking stop, you're driving me crazy. When I could just be like, hey baby, would you mind not tapping, because it's a little annoying. You know, just little stuff like that. So we are responsible for the things that irritate us. We're responsible for how we react. It's okay to be irritated, but you are 100% responsible for how you react to it. So I will say that the outrage, whatever, just me being irritated is pretty normal. I mean, it was almost like not consistent, comparable to like PMS symptoms. I'd say the same thing. But the night sweats, this constant sweating throughout the day, was totally different. I was not expecting that. I had the first 3 to 4 nights, I'd say 4 nights, I couldn't sleep at all. I maybe got an hour or 2 a night, and it's not that I felt like restless, it just felt almost like so much adrenaline going through me. I could not sleep, and I kept watching all these things on YouTube, and a lot of the people, like doctors or whatever, people that were helping people through like addictions, they just said, you just have to get through those first couple nights. It is what it is. And I told myself that, like, it's gonna get better. What am I gonna do? Go smoke some weed so I can sleep? No, that's counterproductive. So the only thing I did get to help me sleep was this Sleepy Time tea. It's basically chamomile tea, and I kind of like having a cup of tea at night. It's become just a nice thing for me. Taking a hot bath is something also really good to do, just to kind of mellow you out. And after 3 or 4 nights, I started sleeping better. Now I'm sleeping better than ever. like way better than ever. I feel like my body is back on track, much more normal. I get tired at a better time than I used to. Like I used to be able, excuse me, used to be able to stay up pretty late, and I'd wake up really early, and now I'm just getting sleepy like 10, 11 p.m. and waking up like 7 to 8 a.m. So I'm getting some pretty good quality sleep, so that's really good. And what else? Oh, I mentioned this in a previous video, which I didn't know this was a thing either. I was experiencing tremors. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's where your hands just shake uncontrollably, and it wasn't so bad to the point, like I've seen alcoholics go through tremors, and it's a really sad thing to see. It's your body's detoxing, and it's needing that substance to stop it, to calm yourself down. But I kept telling myself that this too shall pass. In time, this too shall pass. And it did. And the tremors lasted the same amount of time as the insomnia. And the sweating lasted much longer than the insomnia and the tremors. The sweating was probably a solid week, and the tremors and the insomnia, I'd say 3 to 4 nights. I guess not much longer, but the sweating did last longer, and that's my experience. The tremors was pretty scary. That was something I was pretty embarrassed of. But I didn't know it was possible. I didn't know that the substance that I was told my whole life is not addictive would be so difficult to quit. And I am standing here today letting you know, if you are thinking about quitting, but you just can't seem to quit, there's a reason. Weed is not like it used to be. It is much more stronger, way more strong now than it was years ago. And I would find myself having to smoke more and more to get the same amount of level of being high. I'd have to get weed that just had higher potency. And yeah, I used to think that smoking weed helped with anxiety, and holy shit was I fucking wrong. Wow. I find myself being much more social, much more eager to go out and venture and talk to people, talk on the phone with people, when before I was just text only. Somebody would call me and I would just text them back like, hey, what's up? Even though they're calling. So it was kind of like this anxiety thing, I guess, which I didn't realize I was having anxiety with marijuana until I stopped. I would smoke weed, go to a store, and I would avoid talking to people. If I was at the gym and I was high, I would really not want to talk to people. But now, I'm talking to the random Karen in line at the fucking Dollar General. I'm like, oh my God, I love your purse. Girl, your hair is so cute. Like, I'm so social now, and I love who I am. I love my personality, and not everybody has to like it, but I like it, and it makes me happier. So for me, I've seen nothing but, I've experienced nothing but good things with quitting smoking, and I just wish that I had quit sooner. A little down on myself for not quitting sooner, but I just wasn't ready in my mind yet. And I always did enjoy smoking pot. It was something I would do socially with friends, with family members. Again, it was a big part of my identity, a big part of just a social thing to do with people. And now that I quit, I found that people didn't really care if I tell them, oh yeah, I'm not smoking anymore. Oh, okay, good for you, would be the response that I would get. And I'm just a little disappointed that I didn't quit earlier. But it is what it is. You know what? I only have right now this moment, and moving forward, I am moving forward with a heart full of love and all the best intentions. Perfect time. My husband's home. I'm going to end this video. It's a very long one of just me rambling, talking. I hope maybe this helped one person. If you're quitting, you don't know why you can't quit, you're not alone. You're not. And I highly advise you to just do some research online and research how to quit, what to expect when you do quit, because you're not alone, and you have this whole bright light inside of you that's just waiting to shine. And if you do experience anxiety, maybe this is something that you need to do to feel better. So God bless. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.